The rains are coming. The Indian Meteorological Department on Tuesday announced the onset of the southwest monsoon over some areas of the Bay of Bengal and the Andaman Sea. The IMD said that the southwest monsoon has now advanced into some parts of the South Bay of Bengal, South Andaman Sea, Nicobar Islands, and some parts of the North Andaman Sea on May 13th, and that it would continue to advance over the sea during the next 3 to 4 days. The monsoons are now set to hit the southern coast of India around the 1st of June. I reached out to Air Vice Marshal G.P. Sharma, President, Meteorology and Climate Change of Skymet Weather, the other major weather forecaster in India apart from the government's IMD, and I began by asking him to first take us through the process of data collection and then his analysis for forecasting the monsoons.
Monsoon forecast is a challenge. Number of parameters, they come into play. Monsoon is a oceanic and land-based coupled phenomena. So both the parameters from oceans as well as the land, including the mountains, the other terrain, difficult terrain, it comes into picture. Okay, largely it is driven by the oceans. Like it has teleconnection with the Pacific Ocean also, which we keep saying, and so or El Nino, La Nina. That is what is in the Pacific. And closer home, we have the Indian Ocean, where we keep talking about the Indian Ocean dipole. In addition to these, there is a transiting factor, which is MJO, Modern Julian Oscillation. That also makes its appearance during the monsoon season, maybe thrice or so, because it goes around the globe. In addition to that, there are some global parameters, be it the pressure distributions over land and in the different continents, be it the snowfall in the European region mountains, how are the glaciers, how are the mountains. These are the larger parameters which come into play, like lesser amount of snow in the Europe will be favorable for the good monsoon. So this is one example. So all these put together, the process of forecasting monsoon, prediction of monsoon, it starts much, much earlier. I will say as soon as the first season gets over, you get into that mode of preparing the next one. But then, as you said, the Skymet comes out with its first preliminary foreshadow of the monsoon season. Sometime we attempt to have it in the month of January, mid-Jan or end-Jan. And if it is getting delayed a bit, then the start of February is the period. Yes.
So now looking at 2025, now how are you broadly describing the nature of the rainfall that we are likely to see, the intensity of it, and the dispersion? And finally, how could it be spread out? Would it be similar to last year, which was, of course, unusual in itself, or recent years, or maybe could it be something different?
See, the best of the monsoon will leave about 15% area, little below normal, it could be deficit. And the worst of the monsoon, it gives good range, at least in the 15-20%. That's a distribution which every monsoon, it is like that. This season, as the forecast is for a good monsoon, like Skymet has given a forecast of 103% of long period average, and the National Weather Agency has given 105%. But more than these figures which we have, what matters most is the temporal and spatial distribution of the rainfall during the 4 month long of monsoon season as such. It matters also most over those pockets which are rain fed. In the core monsoon zone, like our region, I will say the central parts of the country, be it whole of Maharashtra, adjacent regions of Madhya Pradesh, even up to Gujarat, and going to eastern states like Odisha and adjoining parts of Chhattisgarh. These are the parts which are largely dependent on the monsoon rains. These are the rain-fed zones, and this is, we call it as a core monsoon zone also. In addition, yes, the agricultural bowl of the country, which we call it as the northwestern parts of the country, but they are a little well off. They are a little well off even if the rainfall is not adequate all the season, all the months, but they have good resources, whether the irrigation part you say or the water bodies are there, they're little well off. But the core monsoon zone of central parts of the country, which is rain fed, it is very crucial for this to have a better monsoon, good monsoon. And the good news this time is this part of the country where it matters most, I think they are going to have a good rainfall distribution. It should be timely also. It cannot happen all the time, all the months that you have a distribution the way you like to have it. Like I feel the start of the monsoon this time, though it will be timely, maybe before time onset over Kerala, but then overall month of June as such is consumed in advancement of monsoon or right up to the northwestern parts of the country. Okay, so it there could be a little sluggish start in between, and the advancement may not be as we wish, as the pace of monsoon may be a little languid while it reaches over central and the eastern parts of the country. But then overall, except for the month of June, which is likely to have a little less rainfall than the normal, otherwise the core monsoon months, that's July and August, we are going to have a decent monsoon rainfall, different parts of the country, most parts of the country. Yeah.
One of the characteristics of recent monsoons has been very high intensity and extreme weather, very high rains, which also obviously has economic impact. For example, last year, a lot of car dealerships were saying that people were not turning up in their dealerships because of heavy rains. They also said the same thing about extreme temperatures. But the point is that when there is this form of differential in the intensity, that also causes problems, including for agriculture. Are you able to say, or are you able to project on how the rains would behave, apart from the fact that it will actually rain across these 2 or 3 months?
It's very difficult to forecast such events, but yes, based on the past experience, we have noticed the high intensity rainfall. Like the duration is less, but the intensity is more. Rightly, you have pointed out, these events are going to be there. The reasons are there for this. I feel the human-induced climate change has altered many things. Particularly, as I mentioned earlier, in the tropical Pacific, in the equatorial Pacific, we have the ENSO, that is the El Nino Southern Oscillation. We have the El Nino events, we have the La Nina events there. This time, of course, we have ENSO neutral conditions, but the human induced climate change has made these events more complex. It is becoming more and more difficult. The predictability is suffering. Actually, the unpredictability is growing on account of this change which has taken place, because the basic characteristics of this El Nino and La Nina, which largely control our monsoon, they are changing. Okay, so it's very difficult. The models are sometimes finding it very difficult to trap the forecast, the predictions, and that is how it is becoming more and more difficult. And that we have felt it also. Okay, and these high intensity and the high impact rainfall events will be a part of this season also. However, the intensity, how much is going to be there during the season, it cannot be predicted at this point. Prediction of monsoon beyond a month, its rainfall distribution and the temporal distribution, it's very difficult. It's not possible. Yeah.
Your next report, let's say, which looks at once the monsoon has settled in, which as you said, is end of June, because you're projecting that things may be sluggish, but by end of June, it should have reached most parts of the country, and then we can start measuring it as a proper season. So, would that be when your next report would be out?
We give a comprehensive forecast to start with. Like this time, we have given for the various months also. We have given a detailed forecast regarding the rainfall distribution over different parts of the country in all the 4 months. June, we have gone for 96% of long period average, 102% for July, 108% for August, and then 104% for the month of September. So, barring the month of June, the other three are definitely above normal, and all these months they will have a decent distribution. So, Skymet, we have a course correction only in case the deviations are large. Then we try to give a course correction sometime halfway through the season, July end or start of August. But if it is behaving okay, if it is going as per on the predicted lines, then we do not give any correction as such. Like we haven't given any for the last 3 years. Yes, that we did correct it twice.
So, Sharma, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.